Rob, let's jump into it today. So we're gonna get into a topic that may be a little controversial, right? That people are
I don't think it's controversial. I think it's just look at the trends.
some people
I don't
might.
think the trends. Well, the people that get offended are the ones that are guilty of it.
Yes.
But go ahead.
Yes, exactly. So let's get into, how did the baby boomers ruin the economy?
Okay, so once again, this is my opinion, and I go back from 1946
Okay.
to 1964. So that's, if you look in today's year, that's someone between the age of 75 and 66. I'm sorry, 56, 75 and 56 years old. The baby boom generation, right? I believe the baby boom generation was part of the original woke movement, which was while they were all in college, they had a problem with the Vietnam War.
Okay.
Now, I'm not a politician. I'm not an economist. And by the way, I'm not a fiduciary. But with that being said, the baby boomer, about 50% of them get divorced.
Okay.
And they're in multiple marriages. So I don't know like behind closed doors, I'm not sure what that looks like as far as like the messaging to the children. They have a bunch of Nikes. You know what a Nike is?
No, what's a Nike?
You don't know what a Nike is? Really?
No, I don't think I
No
do.
income college educated kid.
Got it.
That lives in the basement, right?
Understood.
No income college educated kid. And this is before the pandemic, by the way. Since the pandemic, that same kid is getting money for free while living in the basement.
Yeah.
And the baby boomers not doing anything about it. I think that, if we look at post-COVID, the stock market's run substantially, so that's going to put a Band-Aid on the baby boomer. I believe that there's about maybe 77 million baby boomers.
Yep.
I think every 10 seconds they retire for like the next 10 or 12 years, something
Okay.
like that. And by the way, retirement to me is a moving target. I think people nowadays, because we're living longer, leave one job and start a whole new another job, another profession.
Right.
Even people in their 60s, I see it all the time. So they could still be getting their pension, but now like start an online business or buy real estate or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And I think that if you look at the disposable income here in America, 70% of it is from the baby boomers,
Wow.
right?
That's a tremendous amount of buying power.
It is. And we have to think about the baby boomers that went to college.
Yeah.
Let's go back from, let's say, even the late 90s. And we can go back further than that, of course, obviously, because they were done with college at that point. But let's look at the baby boomers that went to college in the 60s and 70s that became professors in the 90s.
Okay.
Late 90s, 7 to 8 professors were on the left side of the aisle.
So if there's 8 professors, there's 1 on the right side, 7 on the left side.
Yes.
Okay.
And you could go check my facts or my opinion. By late 2008-9, that number became more like 18 or 19 to 1.
Wow.
Right? And guys, watch the news. Don't take my word for it. You could see it all over the place. And then I think if you factor in like when a professor has like an assistant or someone there that's helping the class.
Okay.
By late 2017, 18, even 19, I think that number became 43 to 1.
Wow.
So, Mr. Entrepreneur, Mrs. Doctor, Mr. Attorney, Mr. Mrs. Corporate Executive, you've sent your son or daughter to college. They may have learned a certain level of fiscal responsibility, understood work ethic, and what it looks like to team build. And when they came out of college, statistically speaking, they're in your basement. So, Ed, you're asking me, did the baby boomers ruin the economy? Well, listen, I think that when it's time to go back to work after all this printed money,
Right.
the mindset of building, teams and building culture, corporate culture, financial culture, the importance of marriage,
Yep.
the importance of raising the kids the right way. Do I think the baby boomer ruined the economy and the moral fiber? I saw a lot of things happen during COVID, and yeah, I have to blame the baby boomer on that. That's just my opinion, though. What else?
What else do you think? Well, forget about
He
them.
doesn't even know what to say at this
Right.
point. I just basically blame the baby boomer on all of the economic and moral woes that are taking place in this country. Go ahead.
So let's think about what's their impact on the economy moving forward. They got 70% of the buying power.
Yep.
They're retiring.
Yep.
their life expectancy, we don't know what that is.
Yep.
There's going to be a transfer of wealth.
Yep.
What does that look like moving forward?
Well, for the baby boomer that believes in fiscal responsibility, for the one that has done proper planning through the years, understands the importance of the accountant speaking to the fiduciary, we're not fiduciaries, as well as the insurance agent, the trust officer, they're going to create proper planning and trust to make sure that, that's a baby boomer calling, by the way, to make sure that at the end of the day, that money goes to the next generation in the most tax efficient manner. Let's just hope there's no Nikes involved, no income, college educated kids in the basement, so that they understand the fiscal responsibility of what their parents put together.
Yeah.
Now, for the ones that got divorced 5 or 6 times, that are getting the financial handouts on a monthly basis, with even the market rising because of all this printed money and low interest rates, well, I think they're just going to get the equivalent of, I saw this in Philadelphia or New York City or something, they're approving places for people to do drugs. So it's just really putting a Band-Aid on a problem that is a societal epidemic. And when it comes to money, if there's no fiscal responsibility, it's just kicking a can down the road.
Yeah.
Sorry, listen, guys, I'm just trying to keep it real.
So, Rob, there's a lot going on right there.
Can you imagine just being me walking around thinking about the things I think about all day long?
No.
By the way, if you out there, go ahead and click the link below. If you have any questions or comments, please put comments in. If you have any questions, put questions in. If you're looking for a free financial audit with no obligation, go ahead and click that link below. We'd love to share with you any answers that are specific to your questions, because everyone's questions are good and they're different because everyone has a different circumstance. Want to thank you so much for checking out the channel every single day, but myself and Ed and the team is dropping content and education as best as we can. I was sharing my opinion based on numbers, based on demographics over the last 30, 40 years, and the way I view things and how I view things going forward.